Hi, Letitia.
Good
Hi, Marie.
morning. Hi,
Hi,
Marie.
Marie Louise.
Yes, how are you, Marie Louise?
Can you hear us?
Yes, now I can hear you. Can you
Oh,
hear me?
good. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, very
Uh,
good. Good to have you with us.
well, I was looking forward the last 2 weeks to this meeting.
Oh, good.
Great to have you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
You said that Forgiving, my book Forgiving, is not available in Germany anymore.
Yes, that's what I found out from my friend.
Uh-huh. Too bad. Maybe eventually they might republish it. Who knows? Somebody.
That would be wonderful. I referred her to your website because on your website it's in German.
Right. So
And I
thank you. Yeah,
reading.
great. Yeah. We might have some short pieces you might like to translate if you are available to do that.
Yeah, I would love to.
Wonderful. Thank you. We'll
Thank
send you
you.
something soon. Thank you so much.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Great.
Yeah.
Be
So,
my pleasure and my honor to do this.
wonderful. Thank you. And Letitia, how are we doing with, have you heard back from Pilwa or Tracy or anybody?
No, would you just send them a short note and say, how
I
are you? Okay. How are you? Happy spring. Looking forward. Yes.
We're talking, Maria Louise, we're talking about our next people that are supposed to speak at our salons, and they are not replying.
Oh,
So,
oh,
so it always makes you a little nervous if that
of
happens.
course.
It happens a lot with busy people,
Yeah,
especially in the pandemic. They get so many emails now.
yeah, yeah. Hi, Angela.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Oh, I'm not getting my taxes done. I haven't been getting my taxes done for months. Every day I thought to myself, okay, before I go on the Zoom, I'm going to get like a couple of hours in and I'll be on the road. And here I am.
Here you are instead.
I totally still,
Uh-huh.
untaxed.
You're untaxed.
Yeah,
We
which
would all love to be untaxed.
right. Oh.
Yes. But besides that, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. The weather's not bad at all. It's great. Yeah, it's uh yeah. I must say that that's that tax thing though. It's like this thing, and then there's my life like around the edges, and the center is not getting the taxes done. So I mean, really. So that the other stuff, it kind of goes into the background, and it's fascinating. And I'm glad all this is data. You're learning about things. And being a Virgo, I'm not learning about how terrible I am compared to everybody else. I feel I'm learning about what it's like to be human. you know I don't
how,
you know
how does that feel?
I'm grateful. But put it this way, I'm constantly grateful that I'm very forgiving of myself. I
Good
think
for
that's
you.
really important. I mean, I couldn't survive if I didn't forgive myself. I'm so inept in so many ways, but it's interesting, very interesting. So how is everybody else? Did you all tell each other how you are already?
No, we haven't really checked in. We were just kind of meandering around and
I'll think of a lot
getting.
more interesting to say by the time checkup comes. I'll try and remember what my other life behind my bring something forward. Oh,
That's
awesome.
where
Yes.
the exchange economy gets you. It puts itself in the front and the center,
Yeah.
and you can't get away from it. It makes you
Yeah.
obey it.
Yeah. One thing I did do that I took a lot of unexpected hours on, I think 4 hours or 5, 2 days in a row. there was a questionnaire from the Liberal Party here in Ontario, and a massive and actually interesting questionnaire. And I didn't realize I got someone from the people who are trying to get a charter for Toronto City to just go to one thing on this questionnaire and say Toronto needed a charter. So I got into this questionnaire, and there was so much on it, and it really made me aware of how important really good progressive taxation is. I mean, that's not the gift economy, but on a certain level, everything that was on this questionnaire, should we do this, should we do that, without good progressive taxation, you can't do it. You can't do it. And so that was interesting feedback too, but that whole thing, I'm not even a member of the Liberal Party. I mean, they allowed guests, which is interesting to reply. But they were the ruling party here in Ontario for a good many years. And last time they got reduced, they aren't even an official party. And that was partly misogyny against the leader, who was really quite good, but she was a woman. And boy, anybody smells blood for women, they're just chopped up. I mean, it's just brutal and horrible. Anyway, yeah, basic progressive taxation suddenly, and I'm trying to fill in my taxes, and I I want to do it, but I can't do it anyway. Elena, looking forward to your talk.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you, Angela.
Good morning, Elena. Are you ready to check in?
Yes, it's my turn.
We just started. So,
Hi,
hi, Luisa. Hi, Frida. Would you like to check in now, or do you want to wait?
It's okay. I can check
Okay.
in. I'm glad I'm here. Yesterday it was snowing here.
Really?
It was really a snow blizzard. It never happens. I mean, it's really rare. So I was really excited. I could see it from my window. I'm on the 7th floor, so it was really spectacular. And it's really chilly as in winter. So, but it's everywhere in Europe. So I'm sure I'm not saying something new. And my Facebook feed is full of people sharing the snow in spring. So this is nothing new. But I kind of enjoyed it in the comfort of my warm home. And I'm actually doing a lot of socialization recently, and I'm concentrating on my PhD plan B. So and I've been receiving some rejections from the professors here at the universities. They are bouncing me away from one to each other. But I'm still positive, so we'll see.
What do you mean they're bouncing you from one to each other?
Well, I don't really know them. I usually don't engage with the professors that I don't know previously, because I know, you're an unknown candidate, so they just don't care about your stuff. Well, they kind of, say, well, I am full of candidates. I cannot do this. So you should go somewhere else. You should try another time. And yes, so they are kind of, dismissing me. And today there was one that was specifically, she was really mean, a little bit mean. Like, do you know you must have at least 2 publications? I know, I read it. I do have more than 2
have a lot of
publications.
publications.
You have so many publications. What do they want? It has to be in certain journals or what?
No, I didn't send her. I mean, it was an informational email, so I didn't send her my curriculum. I was just it's a general inquiry.
Okay,
And
listen, you can't do that. You can't do it to a prof. No, you can't do it to a prof. You know, it's really a lot of commitment. And unless you think you know they can write, you need to really, you know what I mean? You're not somebody who requires a nice one who'll help you over the, you know, you're really good. You're interesting to work with. Your project is interesting. So, but if you haven't done anything with them, or they're not familiar with what you are, they can't just say yes. You don't want a prof who's going to say yes, because the ones who say yes easily are not going to do a thing. They're not going to be.
What I was asking for is it's an opportunity to talk and present my idea, which was, I don't know, something that I could start with.
Did they know what your idea was? Did they see anything? If they didn't see anything of yours?
No. I mean, I would, yeah, it's okay. But it's, I understand that. At some point I have to choose from that faculty that where I don't know anybody, and anybody of mine doesn't know anybody.
Sounds like they don't know you either.
No, the professors there don't know me, of course. No, I've been abroad for so long, so they don't know.
I bet if they knew you, since I know you, they'd love to work with you. Some of the smart ones are the ones who are interested in your stuff.
Thank you, Angela. I do appreciate your encouragement.
It's not like you floating in and are they going to be nice to you? That's not it. You don't want that anyway, really. Just to, you're not looking for charity, or here's somebody who has a door, he's going to open it or not, or close it. It's like a relationship. It's like you want somebody who's interested in your work. And there's a certain kind of way. I wouldn't say this is in the places where you're allowed to choose who you work with to a certain extent. A lot of places you go in, and if you're in doing Latin American stuff and you're a feminist, and there's a male misogynist Latin Americanist, you've got him, right? That's not, at least there's this process, where you can find someone. And I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, I was trying to contact first the professors that I actually went and read their works. So someone that I know that I like, maybe they're not close to my topic, because nobody wants to deal with childbirth. They hate it. So, but I really liked some. And so they're the first on my list, even though I don't know them. So I wanted to.
That's important. And you know what? Yeah. Profs are always impressed with people who like their work, funnily enough. It's a very impressive thing about a student if they appreciate you. But
I mean, so I want someone to guide me that I like.
No. If you want to talk more about this, I think, just, yeah.
Why don't you get on a call together? Angela,
yes, we should, Angela.
Yeah.
Angela can really give you some advice because she's got lots of experience. And
I'd love that, Angela, if you have some time.
I mean, it's so interesting, and it's not easy, and it's a bit schizophrenic. It's just crazy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Good. I will write you an email so we can schedule.
Yeah.
That's great.
Beautiful. So before you check do your completion, Elena, are you ready for your salon?
I am. I have been collecting your suggestions, and so I am having a clearer idea of what to say.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I'm wrapping it up.
Excellent. Thanks. Marie, are you ready to check in? Marie Louisa.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Not well.
Okay. Yeah. I'm okay. It's winter time here again, much like how you said, Elena. We had some snow yesterday. 2 weeks ago, it was really nice and warm, almost springtime, now back to winter time. But it's real April weather, like in my childhood, we say, April, April, der macht, was er will. In April, the weather does what it wants. We can never count. Just now, the sun came out, so I'm very happy. And I've been looking forward to this phone call the last 2 weeks. So
Great.
I'm happy to be here.
Welcome.
Yes. Glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Frida, are you there? There you are. Are you still in bed? Need to unmute. There you are.
I'm still in bed. Actually, I was going to the washroom, so I didn't want sound on.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I just woke up about 10 minutes ago. So anyway, I did set my alarm because I wanted to be with this group. Let's see. So what's happening? Well, Suzette is recovering from her hand surgery. She's got to the point where she can drive herself and do most of the things I was doing for her. So that's good. And I made nice chicken liver last night. So that's probably the last supper I'll be making for her for a while, because she's able to do things for herself. And let's see, what else? Oh, the spring is nice. The flowers are out, but we're still expecting some more freezing this week. And I worked on a project that left me just exhausted, but was really worth it. It was a Vandana Shiva show about the farmers' strike. And I finished it worked on it all night and finished it at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, I had to post it because I was running out of time to get it on the satellite. And then yesterday I listened to it again and I said, boy, that end is still not entirely comprehensible. So I revised it and sent the revision out. And I think it's pretty comprehensive. I've been wondering what all was going on behind the scenes of the farmers' strike, and I'm happy you should be getting it in email now. I think you're on the list. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a biggie. Excuse me. And I don't know, something like that just kind of takes over your life for a while, but that's the fun of it, I was reading some kind of book mentioned about getting in the zone, when you're working on something and just everything, you're not thinking about anything else, everything relates to that, and you're pulling it together. And that is the fun, so anyway, I'm feeling satisfied with that one. And now there's another one to do for next week, something. Yeah, that's good.
Good for you, Frida.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Frida. Glad to have you here. Louisa, are you there? Would you like to check in?
Unmute. You have to unmute. Yeah.
Yes, I was doing it, but my connection doesn't work well. And so I hear sometimes yes and sometimes no. In fact, I have this miraculous thing. I have the same climatic situation as all of you, very, very cold. Even if here there's the sun, but I am in Costa Azzurra, and here there is always the sun. Even if in the mountains there's snow, and the temperature is very low. nothing particular.
We're glad you're here. Thanks for coming back.
It's a pleasure. I only do things I like.
That's a perfect
I'm
example.
not giving person. No, if I find something interesting, I connect. I stay, and a lot of times I start something and I don't find it interesting. This is one place I like, and it's not often it happens.
Thank you. We're glad you're here. Mickey, are you ready to?
I
Go
am
ahead.
black or white, no gray, nothing gray in my life.
Very good. Thanks, Louisa. Mickey, are you ready to check in?
Yeah, I'm glad to have a little window of possibility to come and be here for a bit. It's hard to explain why I'm drawn to being here, because there isn't like a project that we're doing or any sense of clarity of what exactly is the purpose of these gatherings. But there's some way that it feels like just coming to drink from the fountain of the mysterious connection that we each have to each other, to life, to Jen, to gifting, to who knows what, but it's like coming for water to nurture the next walk in the desert or something.
Oh dear.
I am, so I want to do two little layers of check-in. One is, I'm now in Ireland. I made it to Ireland. It was very difficult when I was leaving Israel, but I managed to get here. Anyway, the details of that, it was harrowing, but it worked out. And I'm here with 3 other people. And now we're gearing up to go to Portugal in 2.5 weeks for 3 months. We're going to be in a house 10 minutes from Tamara, if people know about Tamara.
Cool.
And Tamara is also doing gift economy. And so, and they know of our work and we know of their work. So there are going to be 7 of us there. If everybody manages to get through the COVID restrictions, it's not a foregone conclusion that we will manage, but it's a big deal. So that's just on the living level. It's, but it's not unrelated to the second level, which is that those of us who are deep into what we are doing, this word that came a few months ago, the word is untethering from the patriarchal nexus. And it's, thank you, Frida. It's seeing both negative patterns that we carry, you know, like internalized things where we ourselves enact what we've been trained into, even as we want to change it. That's one form of untethering. And the other form of untethering is letting go of the comforts that come to those of us who have enough privilege to live, to have access to the comforts. We don't realize what a small, thin layer of humans we are relative to the larger human family. And this vagabonding is certainly bringing up a lot of shit in that regard. And it's beautiful and deep and wonderful. And I walk around with so much grief that I'm in and out of actually feeling about the gap between the clear vision that we hold here, the clear vision that is simple. It's not utopia. It's not like thinking that humans are different from what we are. It's like knowing that when we are embedded, we act differently, and that that is possible and simple. It's not even complicated. It's not like we need major technology or these or that processes. It's all there. It's all available to us. And we just don't do it. And I see it. And there's a few of us that are living it and doing it. So it's feeling that gap between the vision and the now is wrenching. I would really love to connect with others about, do you recognize this grief? How do you handle it if you recognize it? Where does the support come from for each of us? Stuff like that. That would be an interesting conversation for me one day, not necessarily today. I can only stay here until the hour today. That's my check-in.
Thanks,
Curious,
Nikki.
does anybody resonate with this grief? Is it recognizable?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I mean, I sometimes it depends on what I do, but I encounter, I don't know, it could be just almost anything, and I cry.
Yes,
know,
exactly.
But
Exactly those words, almost anything.
yeah,
Me too.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it has to do with being open. It's that open space because it's you're hitting. Well, this is my story. I'm sticking to it. It has to do with being fresh. It's that raw state of freshness that's there. And in that place of tenderness and openness, whatever it is when it touches you, because it's building new resiliency in you. You know, there's both beauty and tragedy in that experience because it's so now, it's so poignant, it's so present. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
I
we
just
can.
love you beyond words. You just caught it so gently and pointedly, like fierce and gentle. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, there's no judgment about it. It's just that aspect of having the courage to be human. You take yourself right to the edge of something that is both vulnerable and strong. Yeah.
I would love to read one of my favorite quotes, maybe after the next person checks in, because it'll take me a moment to find it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mickey. Okay, Francesca, are you ready to check in?
Yeah, I'm pretty ready. I'm fine, and here it's very cold. Anyway, it's very strange because it's all green but cold at the same time. I found a lot of support in my friends, in women, my friends, women, and this is very important for me in this moment. I try to see them online and some in presence, illegally when I can, and that's how I found strength in this moment and sense. This is my check-in now.
Beautiful, Francesca. Thank you. Thank you. Linda, are you?
I found the quote. If
Perfect.
it costs so much to be a full human being that there are very few who have the enlightenment or the courage to pay the price. One has to abandon altogether the search for security and reach out to the risk of living with both arms. One has to embrace the world as a lover and yet demand no easy return of love. One has to accept pain as the cost of existence, as the condition of existence. One has to court doubt and darkness as the cost of knowing. One needs a will, stubborn in conflict, but apt always to the total acceptance of every consequence of living and dying.
That's beautiful, Mickey. Can you put that on the chat if you don't mind, or
Totally.
if you could send it to us, please? That's really beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And Liliana, are you ready to check in now?
Yeah, I'm ready to check in. I'm still having issues with my mother. She's not getting better, and she's starting another round of antibiotics. So I'm really concerned because I'm sure this is very difficult for her. And also, we have been trying to help this Venezuelan woman that was living in Chile, and then she moved to Argentina to get together with her kids because they wouldn't let them cross to Chile. And so she got together with them, and then she was at a job and she was insulted at her job because she was not Argentinian and because she was not white. So it's really hard to hear her the way that, I mean, she's like the sweetest person, and me and some friends were helping her. But anyway, to just be treated like that was kind of hard. And, you know, there's a lot of talk of immigration in Chile, right? I mean, in the US right now. And I really don't think people understand here that this is a global issue, that people are moving from everywhere trying to survive. And they just think it's a Biden issue. And I'm like, take a look at Europe, you know, how people are dying from Africa, getting drowned in the ocean, trying to get there. I mean, Latin America is full of people going from one place to the other so they can eat. So anyway, we're, my friend that is in, I mean, I don't really even know her, but I have become friends just by talking to her. But anyway, and that's why that poem resonated, Mickey, thank you. That was my check-in.
Thanks, Liliana. Yes, it's a huge problem, this whole movement that's happening, but it's because of the extractive economy, you know,
Yes.
and not being able to address what's needed locally to support people, which is, you know, why the gift economy, the maternal gift economy, is so essential at this particular moment. So thank you, Liliana, for pointing that out. So I hope you encourage all of your friends to come on.
Rita was
Oh, because what you said about the extractive economy, that's what this story is about, the farmers' strike. It's about the very, very long extraction that's been attempted and done in India, but also been resisted by some of the people. And it's like they're just about to overwhelm the whole damn thing. It's, yeah, it's terrible. It does make me cry, but I'm glad to get the story out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Frida. Linda, are you ready to check in?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I am ready to check in. It's been a weird day today, and I don't know. It's a lovely sunny day on the one hand, and we've had real storms ever since the weekend with ice and snow and very, very high winds and lots of people without power. Fortunately, that didn't happen to us, but it. I don't know. It's been a weird day today. I can't put my finger on it, and I need to. So I'm just going to be here and embrace what I hear from people.
We're glad you're here and find comfort in the voices of women who are loving and interested in changing the world. That's get some inspiration from that today.
Yeah, well, I do. Fortunately, we have something called the Voice of Women for Peace in Halifax, which I'm very involved in, and we're doing we're taking over Citadel Hill and with a big banner, no to fighter jets, trying to prevent them Canada from buying military jets, as opposed to dealing with with the very real human needs that need to be addressed in Canada at the present time.
Beautiful.
So anyway, that's what. So we're doing something on both Saturday and Sunday, and it's the day of military, a day against military spending this weekend. So that we're celebrating that as part of the event.
Perfect. All right, Linda. Thanks for being with us. I'm going to go to Paola Melchiori, and then go to Jen. Jen probably knows both Sandra and Paola, so I'll go to Paola Melchiori and then to Jen, so she can do her check-in and then introduce us to the other two. Okay, Paola?
Yeah. Wait.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just in. We are in. I'm in the crossing. I thought it was my phone. I am in the crossing because one of my best friends, feminist, Leah, is in hospital all of a sudden with a very severe COVID. And nobody understands. She was always at home. She never went out, blah, blah, blah. She's 80. And the situation is not good at all. So we are waiting for news every 2-3 hours. And Luisa is Leah, but don't diffuse the news, because it's better we keep it among ourselves because she's a known person. So we don't want this to go around. Then on the other side here, yeah, it's a cold, wonderful, it's a winter day, cold and windy, but it's still livable. And we are always in our bargain with the communality to keep our house of women and not have to occupy, because with this red municipality that doesn't care a bit about women. And the situation in Italy is very tense because the divide between people who want to open at any price is very strong. So there were demonstrations, very strong, horrible, to affirm the right to open despite any precaution and of health, putting health first. So we are in this edges and see how we can keep, this portal that Arundhati Roy says, to keep open the possibility to use this time to show other ways of living, of surviving, of relationship. And when the situation becomes so tense, it's very difficult, but this is our effort, I would say.
Yes. Thank you, Paola.
Paola, I put something in the chat that I received some months ago that I don't know anything about it. I trust the people it came from, and it's a medical protocol that is not very well known, that if I had COVID, I would probably try it. So
yeah, but the hospitals, this person is unreachable.
No, but the actual doctors, this could be offered to the doctors. This is medical. This isn't alternative medicine. It's a medical protocol.
Okay.
Thanks, Mickey. Jen, are you ready to check in?
Yeah. Last night I was interviewed by this Italian group. Oh, darn it. Sorry, this things keep calling. This is sorry. That I have a YouTube channel called Fighting for Peace. Join us to fight for peace, using the wrong word for like fighting, but anyway. And they I was on a program of an interview with me and with these other two people. Lorena Fournier is her name, and John Andrea, forget his last name. Anyway, they live in Trieste, and the immigrants that come from Africa and well, just about everywhere, come through Bosnia and Croatia, often on foot. And they walk up there and they are just, you know, totally in a terrible state when they arrive, but most of them going to Germany, hopefully, or other places. And so these people have started this project where they go to the station and they are in the piazza in front of the station. And the woman washes the feet of the immigrants that when they come. And she, by doing that, she establishes a relationship with them. And then she welcomes them in some way to Europe. And she feels very much that she's doing gifting and that she's a part of the gift economy doing that. And I would say she is, but I personally don't think that it has to be so exceptional. I think we're doing gifting all the time without recognizing it, and that the exchange economy is such a parasite on us that we can't see the gifting that we're already doing underneath it. Anyway, I was interviewed and I couldn't even get a word in edgewise because I can't manage the Italian way of holding a conversation. So, because everybody jumps in on top of everybody else. And
Yeah.
I never learned it. But anyway, it was fine. I'm just saying I did that, and I've been working on trying to write something and stuff. So there I am. So I want to introduce you to Sandra Capri, who I've known for many years in Italy. She's a wonderful activist, feminist. Sandra, would you like to check in? You have to unmute, yeah.
Hi to everybody. It's my first time. Thank you, Jane. We have been knowing each other since, I would say, with Luisa since the early 2000, I remember. We helped translate the first Italian translation of the 36 steps.
Yeah.
And after that, we have been ongoing on and off, but the relationship is there. So Luisa, I mean, I've been receiving the invitation and I'm sorry I could join only today. I'll be on the listening side first, I think, and then I will share with you. I mean, Paola illustrated quite well the situation in Italy. We have, particularly where I live in Bologna, the situation with COVID is quite critical and has been critical for the last 5 weeks, and it seems we are ongoing. So we have, I collaborate with a local women's association called Harmonie, and the situation for women particularly is quite severe as far as job, as far as violence itself because of the shutdown conditions. So personally, I'm okay. My family is fairly okay. We have some cases in my relatives, my aunt, and is hospitalized, but we go ahead. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, thanks. Good to see you.
It's good to see you all.
Thank you. And this is Paola Pieri. Paola, unmute. Paola, I've known Paola for a long time because she was a friend of my daughter Amelia's, and I knew her when she was like 14 or something, maybe. And then I saw she came to one of our salons, and so I wrote her, and now she's been in our Italian group that we have on Friday nights, and it's great to have her with us. So unmute though to say hello. You have to unmute. Togli il muto del microfono, non ti sentiamo.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't speak English very well, so it's the first time I come and I say hello and thank you. I try to listen and to understand. Jen, aiutami. For me, it's simple to understand when I listen, but to talk is not very easy.
Oh, that's fine. Paola is very smart. Anyway, she has a lot of interesting things to say.
Yes.
So I hope she'll get her English better so that she can say them to us.
Well, Paola, I want you to just understand that we encourage Francesca, and I wanted to mention, I think, Jen, this month is our year anniversary of actually doing these Wednesday salons. So we've been together for a year, and this salon, you know, what we do on Wednesdays is a gift that COVID has given us. We probably wouldn't have done this had it not been for COVID.
Yeah.
But to go back to you, Paola, when Francesca started, she was very shy about speaking, and we encouraged her every week to speak a little bit more, because you don't get your English practice unless you physically use your voice. So I want to encourage you, all of you that feel uncomfortable with your English, to practice with us, because we'll listen and hold the space for that.
Grazie.
Okay.
Thank you, grazie.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome. We're so glad you're here.
In any
So
case,
glad.
Paola, I understood everything you said.
Exactly. We understood exactly what you said. Perfect. Okay. I think we've all checked in, and Nikki, you're only here for a few more minutes. Is there something that you'd like to throw out into the group and before you leave?
I was just very curious about the question of how women here are holding the gap between the vision and what we see around us, and the grief that comes with looking at the gap and being as open as we become when we walk towards the vision. I was just really curious to hear.
Well,
yes, Jen.
I've always had a big gap between what I knew was right and what my situation was. And so I've always tried to manage to live on two levels and to do the best I could with what I had to change things. And, you know, sometimes one does that better and sometimes one does it worse. Sometimes you succeed in doing it, and sometimes, you know, you forget or whatever. But mostly I kind of have been in the right direction. And I think the way we are set up, I think we have to go at it from many different directions. Some people do it like you're doing it, with total commitment to acting in the gift way, and then others do it in partially. And others, there are various different ways of doing it, even, you know, and interacting with other people. I personally think that if you can put the gift paradigm into what you're doing as understanding what's going on, the gifting that is going on in your daily life, it's already a step in the right direction. So And and people don't usually do that. It's a question of interpretation. I know I may seem with my head is in the clouds or something, but I really think that if we can change the paradigm, the way we're thinking, we'll be able to change the practice. If we don't change the way we're thinking, that we can change the practice, but it doesn't go anywhere. So it has to be a change of the frame. That's my
I'm thinking that there's a mutual relationship between the thinking and the practice, because I think the practice changes the thinking also. It's not, I don't think of it as one way.
Oh, I don't think of it as one way, but it's a frame. I think people are already doing a lot of gifting, but they don't see it. And so if they can begin to interpret it as that, then they have another view of the world, and that helps the practice.
Yeah.
That's a form of practice. Another one is, especially with people who have a lot of resources, there's a practice of really honestly enumerating what are your needs, what do you truly need, and what are you going to do with the resources that you don't need. That's a really deep practice that when people take it on, it changes how they think. But if you wait for them to change their thinking first, they will never take it on. But if they trust you because they know you and you say, just try it out, even if it's just $10 that you end up giving away, it's still worth it and it moves.
Well, I don't
Mickey,
know. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
No,
Jen. After you, Angela has had her hand up. So, and then Paula. Angela Miles.
Mine's a somewhat different thing. I think some people had wanted, mine was more related to what Jen said a little earlier. So if you want to keep this discussion going, I know a couple of people, they seem to be wanting to say directly on something. So I don't mind waiting.
Okay, so Angela, we'll come back to you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll make sure. We'll go through this flow and then we'll come directly back to you. Paula Melchiori.
Yeah, it's about that. Mine is a direct interaction with what Mickey and Jen were saying. It was a little bit of an elaboration of what we said at the end of last time of the other meeting. I share Jen preoccupation to keep the frame alive, to keep which is the interpretation of everything you see and do in a different way. So this brings me back to, and I think this is essential, and even if it's true that any small practice is changing, but you have to see the practice and the meaning of that practice to identify the right one. So this brings me back to the last meeting when Sherry was saying, and this was in a way a nail in my head, how we can really be able to invent, to see, to make visible a different paradigm when we are raised in a so different frame of mind that sometimes it really disappears, even if you try, because our cultural framework is continuously, in a way, recolonizing our minds. So which practice of also exchange of thinking and so on, like this Wednesday, for example, keep this research alive and really inventive, because I feel very much the weight of colonization. So.
Thank you, Paula. Luisa.
So first of all, I would like to say one thing about utopia, as Frida was mentioning before. and just a suggestion, philosophical one, that is to speak only about utopia. I don't know in English if the pronunciation is different, but utopia here means a place that doesn't exist. On the contrary, utopia means a good place. Now we are in prison, in jail, because of coronavirus. But we'd like as soon as possible to have some meetings that we called Utopia Feminista, and all the meetings are based on matriarchy and history of women and proposal of good places in the women way. So this is just a suggestion. Referring to the paradigm or the practice, that is true that the two things must go together side by side. I remember, and perhaps Jen too, that some years ago we went to a matriarchal camping in Toscana, and with the occasion of the presence of Jen, I asked to my companions to try a sort of gift economy between us, in the way we put money all together, giving money as a gift, and then to administrate it together in order to check the positions we take towards a request, our giving, etc. Because according to me, we will be able to spread the gift paradigm only when we will be able to see what giving or not to give us empowerment. That to say that often money is not only richness, that to say I can buy or I cannot buy, but is also tied to the importance not only people give to us, but the importance our service give to oneself. And so it was not possible to go on because of the distance, I think, and because of the life we are compelled to live. For this reason, as Frida, I think, was speaking about village, where there is nearness and friendship between all the inhabitants, if they have done something like that in order to check how does the gift, how the gift works.
Thanks, Louisa.
Was clear? No?
Yes, it was clear. I would like to speak directly to the gap that Mickey was talking about, because for me, there's these, how we know the world to be, and then also my relationship, who I am in that world. In order for me to move into another world, I have to have a crack in myself, which is when I spoke about earlier, this very tender place, because I recognize I'm at the very edge. And I don't know what the future is, but I have a vision. And so to get me to that place, I do have a gap. And I want to be conscious in that gap. So how I deal with it is, first of all, from a place of curiosity. And that curiosity often creates an incredible discomfort in myself, because it has me questioning, many things about who I am and what my motivations are. And so there's this real uncomfortable space of undoing. There's lots of strategies that I've used, and I'll name a few of them. One is to leap, which means that I don't even, when I recognize how uncomfortable I am, I just go headstrong and I ignore any feeling that I have. But when I do that, it takes a bit of time before I can integrate really what that change has happened. Because now I have this momentum, but my humanity hasn't actually integrated all the expression of the fear and the anxiety and all of that emotion cascades into systemic stress in my body. And that creates medical issues like inflammation and other things that I need to, once I've leapt, I need to actually slow down. My body needs to actually have a place of integration where the hormones that's pushing me forward, this excitement, and I look at it as anticipation rather than fear. So when I have that anticipation, then I recognize that I need to dial it back so that I can find a place of neutral and make an orientation again, like a new landscape. I have to map out my world again of who I'm being in this process of change. Sometimes I can't dial back the fear. The curiosity has not been able to be the main force in my life. So I'm completely gripped in fear and terror that I don't want to be projecting that into the world, and I don't want to be projecting it into the relationships that are immediate next to me. And I don't want to be projecting that energy into the new thing, because I don't want my creations to come from fear. So then what I do personally, this is my new thing that I learned during COVID. I started listening to audiobooks when I went to sleep that is setting into my subconscious mind notions of how to deal with my emotions from the Tibetan or the Buddhist point of view, so that my mind has a seed of awareness in my subconscious mind that when I see it in my consciousness, like when I'm awake, that it gives me a pause. Oh, that's something, there's something that's there. It's still not yet integrated. But I'm recognizing that I need to give myself the space to be able to have the feeling and recognize the feeling isn't me. And then recognize that I'm giving the space, this gratitude of me being aware, because that's the gift. This is the paradigm, Jen, that I'm able to use the paradigm that each time I make a choice, it's a gift for myself. It's a gift that I'm actually able to do this. It's my responsibility to do this, because if I can't embody the gift, then I can't emanate the naturalness of that. So I have to be able to stay the fear, and I don't mean repress the fear, but to allow the fear to have its moment. Now, most of you have been around child. You've been mothers. I haven't been a mother, but me being around children reminds me that children's emotions rise and fall. That's the natural point of how emotion is to run through us. One moment they're just hysterical and having a tantrum, and then you give them something to distract them in the direction of what they need, and they completely like just change miraculously. So I use that awareness of how the naturalness of what it means to be human to give myself that gift again, instead of trying to keep using my adult mind frame. So there's this place where I have to let myself integrate. Anyways, those are some of the strategies that I use. But the main thing is that the gap that you're so uncomfortable in, I feel, is the choice point of being able to be conscious, embodied in your future. And that we need to be able to be uncomfortable in order to be able to articulate in a very specific, honest, and connected way when someone else is at that same edge. That we can, that they sense in us that we've approached life. And to me, that's that place of the gap is the place that wisdom is birthed from. That's what I think. And we don't have many, again, I've said this many times in this group, you know, we are having to raise ourselves to be good elders because we don't have those elders around who can say to us, that's the place. You need to stay with that uncomfortable feeling and know that that uncomfortable feeling isn't forever, and find a way to deal with, to be with that, because just on the other side is what you're looking for. So that's what I say about the gap.
Thank you, Letitia. That's great. What a helpful discourse you've given us. I think.
Yes, I want to say that the book that I was listening to last night was Gender Trouble by Butler. So through my, through my sleep, that's what I was listening to. And I woke up this morning and I went, I bet Jen is, anyway, so I was happy I chose that book because I knew I was coming here. Anyways, but yes, so.
I think you would have done better with Tibetan Buddhism.
Anyways, thank you.
Wanted the trouble to fill the gap, huh?
So, yes. Frida, you wanted to talk?
But I just wanted to say something about this book, Gender Trouble, because I've been hearing about a lot of people having trouble with that. and I don't know if this is the right time, but at some time I'd like to hear, what you took away from that experience of listening to it, even if part of it's unconscious. Yeah.
Okay. Jen?
No, I wanted just to say that, all of you are living the gift economy in different ways. Letitia is doing it very heroically on her own and acting as a priestess and a moderator and a provider of the gift economy for a lot of people, an example. Mickey is trying to do it in a group and trying to practice the gift economy that way. But others of you also, like Elena is doing it and has done it through her activism with mothers and obstetric violence, opposition to obstetric violence. Frida has done it through Wings and the radio, and all of you have done amazing activist work and teaching work and things that are basically gifts to society. So I think one way of promoting the gift economy is really seeing it in all these different levels that it exists, and that people are doing it without calling it that. And that's one of the things our salons are doing, is allowing people to speak their gifts that they have been giving over the many years, and connecting them under the gift paradigm. So I don't think that we can get there socially just trying to practice it in a group like Mickey is. And I'm sorry she's gone, because I would have liked to tell her that too. But if we can, because we're not all going to do that, or we need that example for somebody that's trying to do it in a practical way like she is. But we also need to recognize it in ourselves and in each other.
Yes. Angela Miles, are you ready?
Yeah, that relates somewhat to the thing that I was struck by. For me, what the question was, how do we live in a world that we see is so criminal? So I can't, even the words, so absolutely life denying and destroying. How do we manage that when we can see that giving is so natural, it's so simple? We could be in abundance, a wealth of relationships with all our relationships, secure and so on. And I found in these, dark days, these end days, when there are people dying all over because their homes are bombed or burned or whatever, just to name one thing that is going on right now, that actually is a defining of this period. And I think if it wasn't for me having seen giving, if that paradigm wasn't in my life, I couldn't survive right now. I'm not a particularly sensitive soul either. Just seeing what's happening, what's being done, who's in charge. But I get a tremendous comfort from knowing that it is simple, that it happens all the time, that we are surviving because of gift. And it if I was working in a frame of, this is unjust, things should be equal and fair, everybody should have enough, there'd be no comfort in knowing that and knowing it wasn't happening. Even though I never ever thought, I did always feel that we were better than the structures we're working in. And it wasn't that everybody was really interested, most importantly, in profit or wanted to win all the time. I knew it wasn't true. And that we were shaped by these horrendous systems. But I didn't see the other paradigm. I didn't see that there is another paradigm. And that's our humanity. That's who we are. That's who our basic relationships are. So that I find it's what gives me, not, I would say comfort, but hope. It saves me from despair, really. And I find that my reaction these days is, I'm so angry. and anger, I find myself, when I'm reading the newspaper and I see the pictures of these, whether they're rapists and predators, or they're just, generals or politicians, and I'm speaking mainly of the right wing, so many of them, so many strong men, dictators of all nationalities and religions and whatever. I honestly find myself punching their pictures in the newspaper. I feel that we could be different. Like boom, boom, boom. Now that's not a very feminist or peaceful reaction, but I'm so pissed off, you know? And the other thing that, another really, really important thing for me in terms of the way of keeping going and going forward is you know, there is a human nature that is formed through our maternal relationships. It's not essentialist, it's not biological, it's not women only. There is a human nature that is shaped originally by most of those who survive without, you know, in relation somehow with carers. That is a bedrock. However, what I think has also allowed, and you know, the new research that's showing that actually it's not survival of the fittest on an individualist basis, it's communal cooperation that has determined which group survived. All that kind of thing, that's important, that's useful and good. However, I think another thing that has allowed human beings to survive is the flexibility. And human beings put in situations which are asking it and rewarding it and naming it good can be very evil, can be very cruel, very criminal, very evil. It's men and women, although men are more untethered from the maternal, so it's more men these days. So that helps explain as well how human beings can be doing all these systems, which also helps me survive. You know, the fact that you have like all sorts of professionals that are a part of the systems that humiliate people, or where they can't help people and they have to go, they have like 500 people they're supposed to try to help in a day, and they know they can't do anything, and they survive, but also they're able to be there and do that and dull themselves to that. That's a part of our humanity, that flexibility to be able to do it. And it's not a crime, and it doesn't mean that they're evil. It just means that that's one of the things, the flexibility, the fact that I think there's any human beings left, that this is, we were a species that survived, is one of the reasons why the exchange can be so dominant, really, and separate us from our humanity, and people still carry on, and some people, you know, enjoy their vacations, you know, as if they deserve them, and you know, they're better than everybody else. So it's yeah, I think for survival and for activism and hope, the give paradigm is important. And it isn't this difference that is for me a problem, because I do think that the gift is pervasive everywhere. I mean, that is so comforting as well. You can see how joyful, how much people enjoy giving, as long as it's not too much trouble. No, no, but if they get an opportunity to help someone that is easy for them because it's in the flow that gifts should be in it. So yeah, it's but I the anger I feel that can come over me is at seeing what's happened, what's dominant these days. Is it can be extreme in certain cases.
Thank you, Angela. Yes, definitely anger. There are, I mean, I think that's, I just want to note that physiologically, the point of anger and sort of the pause are like right at the edge. So it's being able to be aware that anger is rising and then pause. But when the anger is already in its momentum, it does need to actually have its cascade. You know, you need to actually let it rise and fall. That's the thing. And I want to cop to this. When I was in the corporate world, my clients were very large, like international Sony and the original Pactel Cellular when it came out, the first telephones. My executive VP asked me if there was something that I needed, and I said, I need a door to my office so that I can have my privacy. And I'm bringing in a punching bag so that I could expend my aggression, because that's what it is. It's the aggressive, like I need to really change. I needed to expend my aggressive ability by punching the punching bag so that I could show up in a meeting and be civil. I mean, that big, and now I don't need to do that, but there was a point where I physically had this punching bag and people would come into my office and use it, while I was gone. So I really empathize with your wanting to punch the picture of people on the newspaper. Jen.
Well, I think that exchange, the commodity exchange and money are a kind of little mechanism that gets into our head and changes us from gift givers into marauding, patriarchal, horrible people that are neoliberal and don't care about anybody and so on. So what we are ruined by is the daily practice of exchange and money. And so with that, I can forgive everybody because I realize what we are is we have this parasite in our head and in our practice, and we need to liberate ourselves from that. So I'm more possibly hopeful than other people might be, because I think we can get rid of it. I don't think it's our nature. I think our nature is a gift giving and maternal, everybody. So, and part of the reason that we're not doing what we should be doing is that we have invented gender to make males different from their mothers.
Yeah, can I, when I think about my anger, really the ones that really make me angry, what really makes me angry is the presumption that these leaders should presume to be listened to have that kind of power and authority, to be the ones that should lead us. It's that presumption that really angers me, really gets to me. No, it's not so much they aren't giving people or even the policies are awful, but there's something very personal that when I'm angry about them all the time, or I'm amazed at how destructive all the policies are. Amazement is something, but the individuals in those pictures who sit there and take the positions and are chauffeured around and do their fucking interviews and talk garbage, really insulting, I don't say dangerous stuff, and presume to be doing something of some value or something, I don't know. Anyway, that's
Thanks, Angela. I'll give you. Jen mentioned that I'm a priestess, and so when number 45, or for those of you who aren't in the United States, Trump was elected, I was just in such a state of shock. But what I did was I invoked Kali every day for 4 years, and I invoked her, and I envisioned her dancing and inviting her to the image of Kali's head being cut off. When she cuts off people's head, it brings them to enlightenment. So I envisioned her cutting off Trump's head so that he would come to an enlightened state. And that was the way that I could see him, in the way that Jen says, there's forgiveness, that, that everybody has been imprisoned by this parasite in our head. But I gave it over to Kali to bring these people to enlightenment, and I danced like I was dancing with a sword in my own room to hasten their awareness to enlightenment. So that's another tool that I use. Paola Melchiori.
Unmute.
You need to unmute, Paola.
If nobody else has, I would follow up with this history of anger, because I really found a way out, because I was not only angry with these monsters, and Italy now is such a mess that you really have to keep, Jen, your mind strong and not look too much to what they say, they do, and to these forces. But I was a person always, like Angie in a way, getting crazy at the stone face with how these people can speak like that, how they are so bad, evil. So I studied for years evil and the concentration camps and the Stalinist camps and all this. At one point, I think what is in this paradigm that Jen describes, the fact that, and this is also through the study of evil in a way, that human nature is like an assumption you make. Human nature is nurtured and is essentially nurtured by giving. The goodness is nurtured by the generosity. And what people who survived also in this horrible situation show the importance. I remember Grossman, the Soviet Grossman, saying, at the end, what is important is goodness. But with this Jen paradigm, so to say, is the fact that homo donans, the generosity that is inside the maternal love is what nurtures. And at that point, I dropped, in a way, all my anger, in the sense that I also thought, if the Me Too took 40 years to come out, some things that we thought would happen the day after in the 70s, it means that I will never see that winning. I will never see the success. Because, apart my age now, but I think we had a sense of historical times which was too short. And so at that point, to keep this paradigm strong in me and try to see it everywhere, not only to practice, but also to see it where you don't see it, and keeping these horrible people in a way aside from my consciousness, because otherwise my sense was always to bump my head against the wall and bump, and then at the end you just break your head in a way. So keeping this path for me to not to see too much of this evil, and trusting that this, even if we won't see the results, this is the right path. This in a way protects me from this terrible anger, which in my case was really bumping the head on the wall, in the wall. Because it's also very, not only dangerous, but to be so angry is unhealthy politically, unless we really think of the revolution again. I don't think it's time for revolutions, but it's time for this steadiness on not allowing the horror to overwhelm us, and to remember that this is is part of our human nature, and we are homo donans, and we keep going with that.
Just briefly, this is how I do it. This is, I think, that gift paradigm makes that possible. So it's not that I'm in this anger all the time, but if I'm minding my own business, looking at the news, and I see those pictures, that's my response. But I don't. I mean, it is quite helpful to hit the newspaper. It may not be, wielding Kali's sword that just, Angela's fist, so, but it's not. It is giving. It's that I'm seeing that paradigm that helps not be in that despair and that anger all the time with the system.
And Canada is a paradise, compared to here.
Yeah. May I?
Yes, go.
Well, I think it's systemic. I think the evil is systemic, and it's like a big mechanism. So I realize that if there were not Trump, there will be one next time. That this is a expression of the system. If there wasn't Hitler, there would have been another time. And the system keeps bringing forward these men at the top that are, totally hierarchical, and it's part of the whole way the system works. And so I'm always, if I'm angry at the system. And I think that the people are just dupes. Just they have this implant that has been put into them, and they are acting out these roles that the system provides for them. And so the question is, how do we step outside that system ourselves and see something else, which is, for me, the gift economy, and trying to promote that, and to show that the system itself, based on exchange and capitalism and patriarchy, is the problem and not the solution. Because also right now, we can't really look forward to a long future in which things can mature, because we've got the environmental crash coming. And so we have to try to do everything as fast as we can and as radically as we can, while it can work in a way that will still work. I mean, I don't think it would do any good to go out and storm the Capitol and get put in prison. It doesn't help, because we don't change anything that way. And the question is just, to keep your eye on the goal and see how you can get there. And if you believe in the gift economy and in women and in a better world, it is possible. I really think it is. And it's necessary, because what we have done up until now doesn't work. And it's too obvious that it doesn't work. If you just look at it, it's failing, both with COVID, with the environment, and with the politics. So the bright idea would be to show this alternative, to make it clear and let people see it. And that is really what we're trying to do with these salons. And I have to thank Letitia for making that happen, for getting it started and making it happen. So, and all of us, really, all of you all who've worked on it, like Liliana doing the artwork, and Elena, Diane, everybody that's worked on that has been great. And I think we've provided a resource for people. But anyway, we don't know what's coming in the future. We don't know what's going to happen in a couple of months. So we just have to keep on doing the best we can.
Thanks, Jen. Luisa, I'll come to you, but I did want to mention that our salons are getting really good feedback. From the last salon, we got 2 emails from women who say that they want to organize with women to essentially take over the world. I mean, they didn't say it like that, but they basically said, you know, they each had their own idea of how they want to, you know, gather this shift, and seeing the gift economy as a piece in that was missing, that they weren't aware of, that they really feel is critical to this shift, and that the matriarchy rising, or the maternal, with the maternal gift economy, is what will help the world actually transform into a place that's more sustainable and compassionate. Of course, they're very revolutionary and aggressive, which is, you know, I think we need to recognize some of us are in our 70s or 80s, and maybe that's not the place that we want to end our life in that way, because there's lots of different phases that we can contribute in life. The younger ones now need to actually be able to have that push. So I just wanted you to know that that's the effect of what's happening here. And people are sharing on the back end, the salons, so that others are being drawn in. And we're doing really good work. So I want to thank you all for contributing, because you inspire us here. So with that, I want to go to Luisa. You had something you need to unmute. Yes.
Okay. I agree with Paola that we live in a time. I don't know if it will take a lot of time to change things or not, but we have to go out from the linear time. That to say, we must to keep our consciousness of the circle of life, because if we go on, we go after all we see around, these men and so on, and the time that there is an horrible thing, and you have to wait 10 years to know that nobody knows what happened, and you lose a lot of time to stay after this kind of talking of history, of legend, of myth, because patriarchy has a lot of myths, and Trump and then Biden. No one is better than another. I think that is a system that there is things are worse to the point that if there is not Che Guevara, cannot exist neither Hitler, because they change the role, and the one is peaceful, the other is bad. As I see it, is not only a system. According to me, we have lost the capacity of women of seeing what is happening, and to impose a way of living, because we are going after people that it's not bad, good. If you notice, there is not a plan. They are not planning what will happen, because they are addicted of power. According to me, men out of the matriarchal system are suffering. They are suffering of identity. They are always searching for identity, and for this reason, they don't stop. They are millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, but they don't stop because it's like a drug. You have to always have more drugs. They are not a point in which they see themselves as important. There is no point because they are addicted. So in this way, I don't feel too much angry. I avoid to listen because this way of listen to TV, of give a lot of importance to a bad or to a good man, are making my brain wasted. I cannot follow this, and I cannot kill all the men, even if it will not be so bad. But the problem is that they are sons. They have not the possibility, perhaps the bodies to be something else. Fatherhood is an invention, is not existing in nature. There is an history of fatherhood. There is not a consistency. And if they don't understand that they are above all sons, because they don't create anything. They have only to understand that they are sons of mothers. This is the point for men. But they cannot understand this simple thing because it's 5,000 years that demonstrate us that they cannot understand. If they act in autonomy, they do what they are doing. No worse nor better, nothing. For this reason, I believe that this is a system. But I think that we have to point on women, because mother or not, we have the sense of life. What is happening now? That even women are losing this sense of life because they don't see anymore the result of gifting. They are worried all the day after son because as I said before, it's not the problem. I have 1,000 euro. I give 500. But the problem is what are doing my daughter tomorrow? That is without money, without work, without possibility of health. This is the problem that compelled women not to see exactly what is happening, but to run after all this theater that men are doing us. And they are they are also sons, so we are accustomed to listen to the children, and we listen to them, and we cannot be able to strength between us, among us, in order to say that this is what is happening. Is no better in Italy, worse in Canada. Now, perhaps, if I think if the design of the new capitalism will be successful, it will be better to live in Africa than in Europe, because they change. There is the war there, the war here, economy here, money there, because, and without a frame, without an aim, there are no aims in patriarchy. And in fact, we are going to distract to send the world upside down because we are going to Mars. The solution of the man is to transfer the humanity on Mars. There is nothing, neither air to breathe. They are stupid. They are not enough clever to understand life. Unfortunately, we have to take again the path that our ancestors signed down with the matriarchy. We have to say, do this, not do this. Like historically, the only moment the things just a little bit work has been when the mothers were telling everybody, do this, not do this, this and this, because there is no other way. We cannot speak with we can speak with men, and we must care them everything, but we cannot speak cleverly with them, and even to hate them is a weapon of mass destruction.
Thank you, Luisa. I wanted to just pause at the moment of mass destruction and greet Mary Claire. And I can't see, there's a shadow there, so I don't know whose face is actually in the. So would you like to say hello and check in right now? Thank you, Luisa.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry we're so late. This is the week that we have Code Pink here, and so we've got they came here on Saturday, are here for a week doing their work at the Creech Air Force Base, and it's been quite an amazing 4 days. It feels like 4 years, but also just 4 minutes, and just a wonderful weaving of stories and heartfelt activism and goddess and earth-based spirituality and ceremony and food. And so we send blessings from all of them and gratitude to Genevieve for this space that they count on and enjoy for respite and retreat and sanctuary from their hard work on the front lines. So
well, tell them hello for me and welcome.
And Aria.
Hi.
I definitely will.
Great.
Definitely will. And Aria.
Hi. Thank you. I think Mary Claire summed it up pretty well. We'll say hello to Toby and all the beautiful Code Pink folks. It was a nice sunrise this morning with a little bit of ceremony with the Western Shoshone, so that was nice.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's another day to get back out there and work in the garden. Yeah. So blessings. So good to see you all.
Thank you. Letitia, now you have to unmute.
I think it's a perfect moment that you stepped in because we have about 15 minutes left, and it was perfect because we've been going through this whole process of anger and frustration and gap. And here you are with people who are coming together to actually resolve and plan their next year for their activism, taking all the theory and putting it into action. So all of our good work are flowing into a place that there are many hands involved. That's what we need to remember. None of us are alone in this future, right?
Mhm.
So, and Mary Claire, I said earlier, it has been about a year that we've been doing these, because Creech Air Force came shortly. The Code Pink came shortly after we started. So it would be great sometime if you and I can connect up to just do a year feedback from what we were saying then to what we're saying now. So Linda, I can't see a hand because you're on your phone. Is there something that you'd like to offer to us today before, we have about 10 more minutes?
No, I think I've been enjoying the discussion, listening to the discussion, but I don't feel like I have anything really to offer today.
Okay, perfect. Mary Claire, you were going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, nothing noteworthy. Just that, yes, I can't believe a year has flown by, and what a year it's been. And yes, it would be really interesting to try to look back and giggle at what we were conspiring and thinking about and intuiting and pulling our hair out about and learning from the lessons. So yeah, thank you, Letitia.
Great. Great. Jen?
No, I was just wondering if there's anybody else that wanted to say something that hasn't talked very much.
Maria Louise?
I would like to say how much I really appreciate being part of this conversation, because it's giving me so much hope. And as I'm listening to all of you, and as I see you listening to your beautiful words, it's a deep nourishment for my soul in these difficult times. So that's what I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Luisa. Elena, I see you. Are you crocheting the future? What are you doing there? Yes. Beautiful.
Yes, I've been very productive during these conversations. Actually, these are we put under the pans or
yes,
things that you use in the kitchen. They are always appreciated gifts. About the vision, I remember Barbara Mann at our conference in Rome saying that it was important for her tribe and Native Americans to hold the vision of the bisons. You say bison? Mm.
Yeah.
When they disappeared. And so they kept doing the dance and the ritual and visualizing the bisons coming back, and eventually they came back. So I was really cherished this memory of her telling this, and every time I feel overwhelmed and enraged, I'm not I think there is a conversation about rage as well as anger, and how productive actually rage is, and how good actually rage is for change, and how we domesticate rage, and we lose somehow we lose power. Of course, we regain probably in peace, and we retain our lives, but we do postpone the change. So every time I'm overwhelmed, I do
I do I do come back with the rituals on my visions, and I try to see what's left in people, you know, it's good. And what is left of the agency of people that they can apply in their everyday lives. And I try to concentrate on that. So every time I'm with somebody and they say how they complain or how they cannot do anything, I always try to find out from them what is that they can do, you know. and in myself as well, I always do. Sometimes I do big steps, but most of the times I do very, very, very little steps. But they give me the same feeling of accomplishment, of agency, of being able, if not make change, and sometimes I do, but that's very rare and it's very troublesome. It's a great backlash, but the small change is the one that I prefer. And I do practice them, and I put it temporarily in a transgenerational mode. So I realized how much feminists before my generation have done, and how much they are still struggling on the same subjects. And this really made me think a lot. And I thought, whoa, it's been 40 years since they started talking about the same stuff we are talking, you know. And it always seems new, and everybody's always so surprised that we're talking about some stuff. Then somehow I relax, and I think, okay, this is what my part is going to be. I'm keeping the fire. Yeah, well, somebody else will have to pick it up. So this is my contribution to today's discussion.
What about rage and anger? How do you define rage and anger, the distinction?
I think it's an intensity. I haven't really worked it out philosophically, but just like as a first thought, as a how to say, brainstorm, I would feel the anger as one intensity that can go into rage. And as rage are imagined the Dionysus rituals and the Bacchantes and Furias, you know. I remember them expressing the rage.
I think
this is the rage.
Rage sounds a better word, and I'm trying to think why. I think anger is more constant. It's a sort of a condition, and rage is a moment almost, or it's an action or something. Because it does seem.
I also remember the song.
What?
Yeah. Like Rage Against the Machines. This is also the song I remember. It can convey the sense of.
Yeah, anger doesn't necessarily have an effervescence or a gesture connected to it, but rage,
it doesn't have to be age.
Certainly a shaken fist or something, at least minimally. Yeah.
Jen,
you can keep angry. You can keep the anger for so long, and it's very not expressing itself, and it can be dangerous for yourself, actually.
This is what Letitia was talking about, the trajectory of the emotions.
Yeah. So Jen, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Angela Miles.
Yeah. I wanted to follow up on what Elena was saying about like the perspective of generations and so forth. You know, I mean, it is really scary now to be in this very intense time when everything looks like it's all going to crash. But we don't know, you know, really what's going on. And with so many people in the world, there may be lots of different currents of things that are happening. And so there may be, you know, a bigger picture that we're not seeing. where whatever we do is in somewhere in that picture. And maybe there's a stream that we're in that will be helpful. So I just wanted to say that because although it does look very negative, there may be a bigger picture in which things are more positive, possible.
Yeah. I often think of it as the stage. Probably everyone has been injured. And when you have a cut where there's a scab on it, the skin draws and it actually hurts more while it's healing than it did when you actually got the original injury, because there was a numbness to your nerves. So sometimes the healing part looks more ugly, like when somebody had 3rd-degree burns and they had to debride the skin where they're physically peeling that skin off. There's a whole lot more pain because the nerve endings are coming alive. You're seeing more, you're experiencing more. And so more of us are awake and alive, and our shortcomings are becoming more apparent in the way that we either are successful at communicating or not. And so it's at that level of both personal, societal, and social levels of culture that we need to recognize that for ourselves, the pain that we're feeling is because we're waking up. You know, that's the part of us seeing so clearly. Angela Miles spoke a lot about that. You know, I see it so clearly and nobody else does, and I get so frustrated. But I think the comfort in coming here in this group is that we all have our eyes open in the directions of our work. And with each of us attending to the places that we can travel, the world becomes a better place because we work our edge. And everyone gets to do their part. We all don't have to do everything. We all just need to know what our part is. And then the world transforms.
Yes.
Yeah. Paola Melchiori.
The transformation from that blind moment where you are so angry that you don't see anything in front of you, but so you have this transformation. I remember a pamphlet, this 90 years old French man who wrote this, indignez-vous, be able to become to become scandalized still from what happens in the world, but go beyond the blindness of that moment and transform it. And that at that point, it becomes a project, a political force, and a political vision. I mean, I think it gives us strength.
Jan, your hand is up.
Mine?
Yes.
No, it's just from before.
Okay. All right. Well, it's 11:01, everyone. It's been a wonderful conversation. And Mary Claire and Maria, you know, Diane does put these up, and you're free to look at all of them. If you need the link, just contact Mary Claire, just contact Diane and she'll give you a link. She puts them up fairly close to the time that we've had them. So you can go back and look if you like, laugh at all of our foibles. But we're really glad that you came on board. And remind me again, you mentioned that you were able to have the Shoshone with you to do a morning blessing.
Yeah, actually, Chief Johnny Bob and Mary Lou came by last night for dinner and circled up with the group. And hung out for a while to share some stories, and then came back this morning to do a 5:30 sunrise or pre-sunrise, because the group takes off at 6:15. And so we did he led everyone in a ceremony and a blessing, and it sounds like they'll be around in and out most of the week. So yeah,
That's great. That's a real
bringing in the
breakthrough.
folks.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah,
on
it's
behalf
lovely.
of the group, just bring our blessings to the work that's done there in ceremony. You know, we want to put our effort and our energy into that transformation, that they're going to go out and do all this activism. So yeah,
I will, and I definitely have to say we've added a dimension that's been lovely. When before the group leaves, we circle up, and Aria started with some Qigong, and now Shirley, one of the group leaders, does that. And then when they come back, a sage blessing for them, and we've had some music. And so it just keeps unfolding in more ways. But I will definitely pass on blessings from all of you. And if they had a moment, I'm sure we would have done something like we did last year, which was to bring you out in the yard and do some shouts and some hellos. So just feel that virtual hug from all of them to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
I
much.
remember that moment.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you on Saturday.
Elena.
See you on Saturday.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.